Good evening. The meeting is now called to order. Hello, everyone. This is our committee of the whole meeting for Thursday, June 26, 2025. I am the chair and also Council President Trippy Congo. At this time, I will call the roll on Councilmember Owens, Councilmember Darby,
Present.
Councilmember Willauer,
Present.
Councilmember McCoy, Councilmember Johnson, Councilmember Bracy, and Councilmember Hackett. Council members Oliver, Harley, Field, Cabrera, and Spadolo have all asked to be excused from today's meeting. Just want to thank everyone who is with us virtually, anyone from the public. You will be able to give comment during our different presentations. At this time, so we will start with our agenda. And first on the agenda is a discussion on the City of Wilmington's Black Restaurant Week. Black Restaurant Week. Who's going to speak to that? All right. Our Chief of Staff, Elijah Simmons, will speak to that.
Thank you so much, President Congo. If WITN could pull up the slide. All right, so this is a presentation on Wilmington's Black Restaurant Week 2025. So just a brief overview before I go into the slides. This is going to be a whole brand new initiative, kind of different focus and lens on Black Restaurant Week for the city of Wilmington. Definitely took a lot of planning, took a lot of thought just to try to really make sure, and we homed in that we give back to the restaurants as much as possible this year. So really looking forward to presenting on the slide. So if we could get the next slide, please. Okay, so the vision for this year's Black Restaurant Week is focused around envisions a powerful blend of taste and transformation, elevating Black culinary voices, engaging audiences through immersive experiences, and anchoring Wilmington as a destination for cultural and please. All right, the mission. So the mission for this year is Black Restaurant Week 2025 aims to ensure a strong brand identity that aligns with the event's mission, increase participation among Black-owned food service providers, enhance community engagement through a mix of entertainment, education, and networking opportunities, incorporate interactive elements through a one-day celebratory event, promote and advertise the participating restaurants, providing them traction and enhanced attention. Next slide, please. So the theme for this year is titled A Celebration Rooted in Flavor, Driven by Purpose. And just a big description about that is it blends rich culinary tradition with bold regional ambition. This theme positions Black Restaurant Week as a cultural and culinary tourism destination rooted in meaning and momentum. Next slide, please. So the logo, as you can see on this presentation, it's at the top right. This logo was formerly used in 2023, so we're bringing it back again this year. There are going to be a few tweaks to it to kind of add in the EST date now that this is going to be the third year, just so folks can look back and see that, you know, it was established in 2023. And we're also going to make the distinction by putting the letters DE in there somewhere, just so that there's also the distinction that it's Delaware and not North Carolina. So just some details about the logo is the visual aesthetics. So it's a circular design with Wilmington text using a fork, knife, and spoon, stylized depiction of Wilmington landmarks, buildings, ship in the background. The color palette for this year is going to be green, red, yellow, and black, often associated with Pan-Africanism. And the overall concept is illustrative, detailed, and locally specific. Next slide, please. All right, so just some history background on Black Restaurant Week for those council members who might not be familiar or even members of the public. So in 2023, that was the inaugural launch of the first Black Restaurant Week to basically just support Black-owned food providers. The consultant that we used was Flux Creative Consultant, and they led all the planning, branding, and coordination for that year. Then in 2024, with the Mayor's Office of Economic Development and Delaware Black Chamber of Commerce, they supported City Council with the 2024 Black Restaurant Week, where we introduced new branding, a website, as well as social media accounts. Then for this year in 2025, we're going to re-engage again with Flux Creative Consulting, as well as a partnership with the Mayor's Office of Cultural Affairs. Shout out to Ms. Tina Betts and the Office of Economic Development to provide strategic leadership, reinforce brand identity, and drive growth and regional recognition. Next slide, please. Okay, so the scope of the Black Food Festival. So this is going to be, earlier in the slide mentioned, a single one-day event. So our plan is to have a single one-day event where we bring together a bunch of different restaurants, as well as have live cooking demonstrations, a student cook-off competition, and even do like some folklore and cultural storytelling panels, as well as even offer the opportunity for a keynote appearance by a celebrity chef to kind of just bring everybody together and celebrate. The tentative date is going to be scheduled for October 2025. That date is still in the working and in the process of trying to finalize with a vendor as well as a location. So next slide, please. And then project goals. So our project goals for this, to make sure this is successful, is we want to make sure that strengthen participation among Black-owned restaurants and the public, as well as deliver immersive community experiences with the Black Restaurant Week Black Food Festival, and also activate a robust media presence through strategic print media partnerships, targeted social media campaigns, and advertising, as well as engaging branded content and storytelling, and also event coverage and engagement with influencers. So I think that's the last slide. Next slide, please. I think that's the last one.
Excuse me 1 second, please. I'd like to recognize Council Members Bracy and Owens, who are with us virtually. All right, thank you.
All right, so we have on the call Ms. Tina Betts, as well as should be Jonathan and Tahira from Flux, to answer any questions, if any council members have any questions, or just excitement about it in general. So turn it back to you, Chair.
All right, thank you. Does anyone on council have any questions or comments? Anyone from council? Anyone from the public? I guess I just want to thank everyone who has been a part of our, of our growth, and giving us information, giving us feedback, critiquing, and just helping this to be just another successful Black Restaurant Week. I want to give a shout out, like you said, Chief of Staff to Tina Betts. I want to give a shout out to Councilmember Alexander Hackett, who has given us some input and some feedback from the community, from different vendors that we have engaged with in the past, and just helping us to be creative and how we can make this another successful event. I'm really looking forward to it. And I guess the reason that we are doing this is kind of self-explanatory. We just want to bring some attention to the locally owned Black restaurants here in our city and give them some exposure and help us to realize that we just have so many hidden gems right here among us. And sometimes they are not always at the forefront. Sometimes they have advertising challenges. And again, this is just to help them be whole and just be successful, and and find some good places to eat where we can relax and have fun with our family and friends. So again, if anyone has any feedback for us, if anyone wants to be a part of our planning, just please let us know. Call us at the City Council office at 302-576-2140. Again, our number is 302-576-2140. If there are any restaurant owners out there, if you know of a locally Black-owned restaurant, please connect us so this, again, can just be a successful event. Yes.
Chair, really quick, wondering if maybe we could offer, I see Ms. Betts has her hand raised, wondering if maybe she could.
Oh, yes, of course. Ms. Tina Betts.
Thank you so much for the invitation to support this event. We also want to mention that included with restaurant owners that have brick and mortar, caterers, minority-owned caterers are also invited to be involved with this effort.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Councilmember Darby.
Councilmember Darby.
Hello, yes. No, I just want to say I'm super in support of this event. I just wanted to confirm, is it black or minorities that we're highlighting?
So I'll have save that for Flux online because they're going to be the ones that are going to bring in the restaurants. They can specify. Jonathan or Tahira.
Yeah. This is Jonathan Whitney here from Flux Creative Consulting. In the past, our conversations with City Council have been to highlight Black restaurants within the city. We do that. We look at that in the broadest sense possible, knowing that we are part of a diaspora of Black people.
Okay, no, thank you. No, I just heard someone use minority, and I know minority can mean so many things. So I just want to make sure that it's for black. It's black. So,
Yes.
all right, thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Councilmember Darby. Does anyone else from council have any comments before we move on to our next agenda item? Anyone from the public? All right. Thank you, Chief of Staff.
Yes.
And now for our next agenda item, we are going to have a discussion on City Council's strategic plan. Survey number 2. And who's going to speak to that?
Council Chair. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all for answering the first survey, which was phase 1. This survey is phase 2 of the strategic plan survey. So just for the benefit of the public, the strategic plan, the original plan was created in 2017. It was revised in 2022. And the plan was in effect until 2025 to give this session time to define their goals. So based on the phase 1 survey, we have the top 5 options, the top 5 themes for the strategic plan survey or goals. And they were public safety and well-being, housing and neighborhood stability, youth empowerment and education, civic engagement and transparency. And the final item was economic opportunity and workforce development. So based on those overall goals, this phase 2 survey creates some definitions of some of the sub-goals under those items. And it asks, based on the sub-goal, the top 3 choices that you find important under these 5 goals, it asks you to pick the items, the approaches to these options. So, for example, under public safety, there are sub-goals like gun violence prevention, crisis intervention, community policing, drug use prevention, and environmental blight. And so once you choose your top 3 choices from those items, the survey will then ask you what are your top 2 approaches. And the goal is to get a consensus around what things council feels like are the best actionable ways of pursuing these concerns that you have. For those of you who are here today, you do have a hard copy of the survey. I'm more than happy if you'd like to do the hard copy of the survey. I can put it into the system. For those of you who are online, you should have received a reminder link today to answer the survey. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to assist. So that is just a general overview, if there are any questions or concerns.
Does anyone from council have any comments? Councilmember Bracy?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Kendra, for the update. Just checking in, what is the timeline for this process? So after we complete this next survey, what's next? Like what are kind of the milestones that you are looking to reach?
So this survey should give us more direction, a little bit more particular information on what things council would like to pursue. And that will give us time to create actual report on this, and also to create the strategic plan draft at that point after you return from the council break. So around August would be the time for council to be able to vote on that plan. And that plan would go into effect for the rest of this session.
Thank you. One more question, Mr.
Yes.
President.
Yes, you may continue. Thank you.
Thank you. So I would suggest, and maybe we use the committee of the whole as a way to do this, for us to have, so I appreciate the survey process and you really drilling down, but I think it may be a good exercise in having the council members that are interested in conversation to come together, maybe through this vehicle, the committee of the whole, or some other meeting where we can really discuss the plan or the proposed top 3 items or whatever it is, and then also look at how we involve our community for the 8 district council members. I think it would be a good exercise for them to then poll their civic associations, and I know they are very engaged with their civics as it stands, but to some degree making sure that we've brought in community voices to the strategic planning process, or it could be a public survey that we put out, just so it's not just us coming up with what we think we should focus on, but really making sure that as we say we want to focus on civic engagement, that we find more creative ways to do it. So that's just something that we can start thinking about as we, continue this process. Absolutely, this is great. But maybe if there's a community component that we can add in, maybe a public hearing using the committee of the whole feature, where we can invite community members, civic association presidents or something, to get some feedback from them. Thanks.
Thank you. I think that is an important issue that you raised, Councilwoman Bracy. Of course, it's at the discretion of the council how they would like to pursue it, but it should be emphasized that the strategic plan, although it's a structure, it is something that is collective, and it involves all of your buy-in, involves all of your feedback, and also your ability to engage your communities to make sure that it's something that is a working plan and it is something that is of benefit to the city as a whole.
Yes, that is very important, Kendra, that we all are a part of it, that we all participate, that we give our input, just so that we all can help make our districts better and our city better as a whole. So it's really important that we are able to engage with each other, engage with you. I think it's a great idea that Council Member Bracy just brought forth, because really we're a voice for the people who put us in office. So we want to make sure that we are engaging with them, and that way we can, when this session is over, we can kind of look back and see what accomplishments that we had together as a council. So it's really important to lay out those goals, so we all can look back and say, job well done.
And Council President, could I add something to that?
Sure.
I just wanted to add as a reminder, I know I've spoken with some of you about it, but the strategic plan is kind of more of a blueprint to make sure that, understanding that for every council member with constituents, you have all types of concerns that come at you every day. All types of, sometimes they could be individual issues or just things that are happening at the moment. But the strategic plan is more of a blueprint to make sure that even though you're addressing those daily concerns, that there are some things, as Council President Congo said, that you can look forward to at the end of the session and say, we've accomplished these key fundamental things for the city. So I just wanted to put that in, is that it's not necessarily comprehensive in that it addresses everything in the community, but it is meant to cover those fundamental concerns that you all have as a body.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Willauer.
Thank you, Council President. There's a lot of great kind of policy ideas that are included under every section. There might be some other policies. Is there a place in the survey where you can add ideas?
Well, I would say if I may be able to make adjustments to the survey. If not, please feel free to just email me and we can go from there. So if there is anything that you feel like is not included in the survey that you would like to be considered, please just let me know. And I think to Councilwoman Bracey's point is that if there's a forum to discuss, that's something that we could put out there and make sure that you're all hearing each other's ideas on that front.
All right, thank you. Any other council members have any comments? Does anyone from the public have any comments? All right, thanks again, Dr. Kendra. And next, we're going to have a discussion on the Finance Department's new payment portal. And who is here to speak to that?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Brett Taylor. I am the Director of Finance for the city. I'm here to discuss the City of Wilmington's new payment portal. Actually, it's a billing system. This has been a 2.5-year journey. Previous to this, we would send our utility bills, property tax bills, and our property tax bills through the Munis system. The Munis system had been around since 2006. It was highly customized and was difficult to do any new development work on it. It was cumbersome, and we felt that some of the information that was coming out was creating inaccuracies both for our agents as well as customers. So recognizing these deficiencies, we went and we selected a vendor. We've been through almost a year of implementation for this, and I'm happy to say that on July 7th, we're going to be launching a new billing system through what we call Encuesta. This is a system that was developed by Systems and Software, which is a subsidiary of Harris Computers. The system itself sits on an Oracle backbone, which is really one of the top engineered backbones that you can find. There are a number of objectives for doing this new billing system, and I think that it's going to be much more customer friendly. Let me emphasize that you will not see many changes to your actual bill. The bill format will remain the same. We may be able to make modifications much more frequently, such as putting in bill messages and some other information that might be helpful to the customer. One of the objectives is to make it clear for the customer what they're paying for, how to pay, and to the bill system itself is going to allow us to consolidate all the accounts for your utility bill, your property tax bill, and any L&I charges or civil fines and penalties that may have come associated with the property. So instead of going to 2 different places on the website to pay, you'll be able to see all your bills in one view and be able to make payments to those specific bills, all in one view. The other is that it will allow you to store your payment information on an auto pay basis. You don't have to do auto pay, but it will also store your payment information so that when you go in, it's just as easy as clicking a button. You don't have to put in your credit card information. It will also provide us an opportunity to send text and email notifications about your accounts. So one of the things that City Council has brought up in the past is, customers who get behind right? How do you notify them? How do you get customers to be able to look at their bills and be able to pay them on a more frequent basis? This will give us an opportunity to text and email customers about being delinquent on their account so that they can come and get current. This is going to be coupled with, we hope in the future, under our new capital improvements program, some new technology regarding interaction with the meters. So we'll have real-time data coming that will show us when customers are getting behind. This is an opportunity for us to get in dialogue with the customers more frequently and not have to wait for some crisis to happen before the customer calls. There'll be detailed explanations of how the bills are calculated on the websites, in the portal. And it will also allow for online applications for payment plans and charge disputes. So you'd be able to do that online instead of having to come in the building to fill out a paper payment agreement. What we're trying to do is move the city into what we call a digital transformation. That means taking a lot of the paper-based, previous paper-based processes and be able to put them online. Now, for those customers who still like to do mail and still like to walk in and make payments, that option's going to still be available to them. But what we like to do is drive as many customers to looking at their information online. You know, if you have credit card payments, for instance, you may get a credit card bill, but a lot of people still, you know, a lot of people are gravitating to paying their credit cards online through a payment portal, and this is something akin to that. We encourage people to sign up in Encuesta for to be able to do their business online. In fact, we're going to be giving whoever registers will get a $5 credit on their account for the month, for 1 month after they sign up. So we'll be able to, you know, we're just kind of giving them a little bit of an incentive to go ahead and sign up. The platform is 100% PCI compliant. That means it's fully encrypted. All of the information is secure. What we're asking people to do is to sign up for the payment portal and on July 7th. Current customers who are currently in the payment portal now through Munis and Paymentus, we're going to transfer all of their data over to the new portal. All they will have to do is sign up with a new password. All right? Then there'll also be information on the portal for any new customer who wants to register. If what the customer is going to find when they log into the portal is all of their information in one place. In fact, there's even going to be a GIS map with their property location, information about their property specifics and the like, all their utility bills, what their consumption was. We're able to track their utility bills over a 13-month period so they can see seasonally how their bills, much like you would see on a Delmarva utility bill. So we think that there's a lot of benefits to people signing up online. We, in terms of communicating this out, oh, by the way, we are going to have a period, what we call a blackout period, starting on June 30th and running through until we launch on July 6th. We're going to take the payment portal offline. However, people can still still pay their bill as a guest on the payment webpage. Okay. Also, they can call 311, and there's still the automated payment function that they can work through. We are training all of our 311 agents, all of our customer service agents in Encuesta to be able to walk customers through when they call if they have questions. Now, how are we notifying customers? We have, through Paymentus, we've set up a text and email messaging service. Right now, we have an opportunity, I think we sent close to, oh gosh, I think it was about 10,000 new text and email messages out just a few days ago. We're going to continue to send those messages out. In addition, we're going to do an ad campaign in which we're going to send ads to your Facebook. When you're on social media, you'll see these things pop up, and it'll encourage people to click on the ad, and it will send them to the landing page so that people can sign up. Now, that'll happen after July 7th. We want to spend the next 2 months encouraging people to sign up for this online payment system. When it goes live on July 7th, we'd be happy to come back and be able to walk city council members through what it looks like. But I encourage you, if you're not already if you're a customer now online, July 7th, you can go ahead and sign up, put your new password in, and you'll be able to see your accounts. I'm not going, we have done all the training. We're doing the testing over the holiday weekend for the go live. City of Wilmington employees will be working July 4th, 5th, and 6th to make sure that this is going to be up and running. We have worked with the team over the last year to test, train, develop, et cetera, the system. I'm going to say that please anticipate the customers will call you. With any new change, with any digital system changes, there's always people that still need to have some more information. We encourage that. Have them call us. We'll work through our customer service folks to help them. We'll walk them step by step through the registration process and the like. I think that everybody will be pleased when the new service comes online. Like I said, our old service, there was a lot of just data that needed to be cleaned up. We're streamlining our business processes as a result of putting a new system in. That's one of the other byproducts of putting a new system in, is we get to really challenge how we did business in the past. Anything that we confront, we will try to handle on a timely basis. We'll work with any city council member who has questions. They can call me. You're more than welcome to call me directly. We can then give you to some team members, and we can kind of walk through what you can expect. So I hope that if you're not already signed up, we can get you signed up. We'd love to be able to send you the text messages so you can look at the system in real time. But we just wanted to notify the City Council and the customers out there that the new system is coming.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Owens.
Thank you for that. One, I think this is great. Hopefully this helps with collecting on payments as well too. I really love the promise to pay feature that's going to be right on the website. You don't have to come in, because I do know that is something that is very popular, especially when it comes to cell phone bills and stuff like that. It does say on here it's just a one-time thing. Does that mean one time for that billing cycle, or one time a year, one time forever?
Well, when you're saying one time, is it one-time payment or one-time credit? Or?
So it says request a promise to pay, extended payment date one time. That's just for that one billing cycle, correct?
That is just for that one billing cycle.
Okay, all right. And then the payment plan, I think, is being able to set that up online is going to be a game changer and help a lot of people. So I'm glad to see that coming as well too. My only other question right now has to do with the marketing strategy, and you explained that a little bit more as well too. Is there anything that we can do from council side of it to kind of coordinate some advertisement around this as well to get some messaging out to our districts as well?
Certainly. We'd be happy to give you some of the, we're going to be doing some postcards.
Okay.
That you can hand out to constituents. Number two, we intend to, Beasley Media Group works with our public works folks. They were gracious enough to help us with this communication plan. And Trolley Web, who is our new webmaster, they're helping us. Paymentus is helping us with the graphic arts on this. We're going to have plenty of information that we'll be able to give you to distribute, even digitally. So we could do postcards. Once we get a visual from Beasley, we already have an audio file that we're handing to WDEL. It's going to be blasting on WDEL throughout the day. We'd love to get it on WITN, so it could be, we can do a PowerPoint or something that we could put on rotation when ITN is not broadcasting, something live. So we'd be happy to. I'd love to be able to work with that group as well.
Okay. Oh,
Yes, you may
I
continue.
did have one more question. The $5 credit for the first month in, is that stopping after is that stopping in September? Or is it just whenever a new customer come in, that's automatically?
We can give it we'll take a look at it after a year.
Okay.
We're going to encourage as many people to drive as
Gotcha.
much as we can. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Willauer.
Thank you, Council President. Yeah, my question is about, you mentioned something about disputing a water bill. Is there an official process to dispute a water bill? And maybe you could explain a little bit more to our listeners what that is.
Previously, to dispute a water bill, we would encourage people to call 311. 311 agent would transfer it to our billing department, and we get those all the time. People call in. They have for instance, they've seen 2 or 3 months of high water bills. We'll take it. We'll look at it. We'll make a determination whether or not it's a bad meter. We may send somebody out. Those are all done, or we also get emails from customers into the billing department. Our accounts services group, which handles the payment agreements, often get calls on disputes because a lot of times there's a back due bill, and account services will help customers work through a payment agreement. This system is set up where you'd be able to be online and you'd be able to put in information regarding a dispute. So you don't have to talk to the agents necessarily. It will go into a queue, and we will have people get back to the customer either through email or a phone call to work through the disputes. So it's a much more automated system.
So is there specific protocols around disputes, or is it all just on an individual basis?
We have a set of rules that we give our agents, our billing department, and our account services department. It's rules of engagement for customers. We have some basic rules. A lot of times we do evaluate it on an individual basis. But the rules are generally, if anybody wants to come in and have a conversation about their back due bill, we'll take a look at it. We have some rules about if they want to pay it all up front. We oftentimes waive penalties and interest in order for them to get rid of it, if they pay the principal, right? There are payment plans in which we will take penalties and interest off at a decreasing amount, 25%, 50%, 75%, depending on the length of the payment agreement. Oftentimes, customers will say, I've had my bills have always been consistently $50 a month. All of a sudden, I've got a $100 bill, $150 bill, $200 bill, because the reads had accelerated. The consumption reads come in, and we look at that. Oftentimes, we will average a bill down if we think that it was an issue of data in the system. If they had a leak on property, we'll give a leak on property credit, meaning that we would reduce the bill by 50% on the sewer side. Oftentimes, there might be a bad meter or a bad ERT. The meters are usually 100% solid. I can't say 100%, but 99.99% solid. Sometimes the ERT, that's that little reader that sits on top of the meter, might go bad. and it might be registering some higher consumption. So we treat these as they come in. Not everybody's situations, not everyone's going to be faced with the same situation, but we do have some general rules about giving customers credits on accounts when they call in. We do this all the time. We have a myriad of adjustments. I think we did over, 2,000 adjustments to customers' accounts last year. So, we're very amenable to talking with customers about what their accounts look like.
Quick follow-up. Thank you, Mr. President. So if a customer has a bill that they think doesn't quite make sense, they should contact 311 and just work through the...
Describe what they'd like to see. If the 311 agent can't, we try to go to one call resolution. We try to train the 311 agents to handle whatever dispute. What usually may happen is they will transfer that call down to our billing department or put it in the queue as a ticket. The billing department will reach out to the customer and talk about some of the specifics that the 311 operator couldn't answer. So we do have I call it a triage program. It's a triage program to help the customer get down to, understanding the bill and why it was the way it was.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Willower.
And then my final question is just, and if they still dispute it, if there's no resolution, is there a final system for deciding? Like, can you go?
I am the final arbiter.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Council President.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. I'd like to recognize Councilmember Cabrera, who has joined us virtually. Do any other council members have any comments, any questions? Councilmember Owens.
Just one more question. And this is more of, I guess, a union question. Whenever there's automation of new features and everything, they're always good as an add-on. All our current staff, none of their duties will be modified or any of them will lose their jobs, correct?
On the first part, some of their jobs may be modified.
Okay.
But no, the intention is not to eliminate jobs.
Okay, that's all I wanted.
If I may just clarify, one of the issues is that the volume of the paper process ties up a lot of salaries, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't get down to helping the customer with their very specific problems, right? So what we want to do is, as part of the digital transformation, and you're going to see this across finance for the next 4 or 5 years, we're going to be creating a much more efficient digital system so that we can use our employees for more valuable work, which is looking at exceptions, doing reconciliations to make sure that the money is being counted in the right way, helping customers with more specific, more complicated complaints, right? And improve our turnaround time on those complaints. So instead of doing a lot of the electronic busy work, or the paper busy work, we want to shift that over to a much more digital means. So believe me, there's plenty of work to do, right? It's just a matter of reallocating resources to the work that is necessary.
Okay. So. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Director Taylor, earlier you mentioned people can apply for payment plans through the new system. Can you describe that process? Like, and specifically, what's the usual turnaround time for a response when someone does apply?
Generally speaking, we have the same, I'd say same to 2-day turnaround time. Okay. If you do a walk-in for a payment agreement. We're going to have to see how busy the queue is, but usually our agents get back to customers as soon as they can. Now, here's an important distinction, though. You may initiate a payment agreement, but if you don't provide information that's complete, we will reach out to the customer, and then it's up to the customer to make sure that they give us information on income levels, if they're qualifying for, say, our UAP program, right? That's one area. Sometimes what we do is if a customer's got a high bill and they can qualify for the UAP program, we'll qualify them for the UAP program first, drive their bill down through our subsidy program, then we'll set up a payment agreement. So it depends on the customer and how responsive the customer is as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Councilmember Willauer, do you have another question?
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Council President. My final question is just the citizen self-service portal. What does this interact with that, or that's going to be this replaces that?
Eventually, the self-service portal will go away once we get all the systems up. We're going to leave it online for now. There's parts of the self-service system that are valuable, but eventually we're going to have to take it down. I can give you a better idea when that's going to happen. We would encourage you to do this. Eventually, it's going to replace the self-service portal. The problem with the self-service portal is that you have to go from one portal to another portal in order to do your business. So you do property tax in one module and utilities in another. Number two, information on that self-service portal is public information. We have a concern about that. I can go to a property tax self-service portal and I can put in an address and I can find out who the owner is, how much they currently owe, etc. It's not behind a firewall. It's not behind a paywall. And I have a concern. I have a concern about privacy issues on this matter. I think it's open for more discussions, but I want to be able to get people's personal information behind a privacy wall. Personally identifiable information is really a prime directive of doing really good having a good digital system. So we can talk about self-service.
Thank you, Council President. I just had one final question, which is, are all bills going to be able to be paid on this, like business license fees and,
for right now,
wage tax?
Yeah, for right now, it's utility, property tax, and L&I fees. We are in discussions right now about bringing business license applications online. In fact, I'm talking with L&I, I'm talking with land use and planning that would be using this. That's going to be a system for 2026, right? We have money allocated to look at the wage tax system and the business license system. So we're going to be working through that digital transformation this year. I just saw a system, a demo of a system for business licenses through Paymentus, who actually is a vendor of ours who does all our back office. They've got a pretty robust system. The wage tax is a little more complicated, but I think from a customer standpoint, we're trying to tackle the heaviest volumes first. Utility and property tax obviously have the biggest customer base. Business license is next. That's one that seems to have a lot of customer-facing issues. We want to make it easier for people to. If I had my way, I would have as few people having to, come in to discuss their problems. I would like to be able to help customers with information through an easier portal for them. For instance, business owners are used to going on the state application process, filling out a state business license, getting it in the mail, getting a preliminary temporary license. I want to be there, right? I don't think you have to come into the office in order to fill out a business license every year or have it mailed to you. You fill it out and have it mailed back. I want to be able to pay, have customers pay online, fill out their application, give us the information online, and be able to pay. So, 2026.
All right. Thank you, Director Taylor. Does anyone from the public have any comment? All right, thank you again, and we just look for. Is there a contact number that if anyone out there is watching and just has a question later on that they can call?
Anybody, certainly you can work through the 311 center.
All right.
You have our contact information at the Department of Finance through my office. There's also, you can go to revenue inquiries at wilmingtonde.gov and
Okay.
put in an email if you wish. There's also online, if you go to the payment portal page, there's an email address. I think the revenue inquiries email address is on the payment portal.
Okay. All right. Thanks again, Director Taylor.
Okay.
All right. Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Thanks for your time.
You're welcome. Next on the agenda is a resolution creating a new council rule, 10-3, a public travel reporting requirement. And who is going to speak to that?
Councilmember Darby.
All right.
So this is a change to our council rules in regards to when city council members use public funds to attend conferences, trainings, or government-related travel, and especially if they're going with the intent of gaining knowledge and best practice. So a lot of city council people go to conferences. I don't even know. I only know because maybe they might tell me, but if other people go, I don't even know they went. But this piece of this council rule will allow for transparency and accountability, where the public should be informed about how city resources are being used for travel and what benefits result from said expense. So this will require that that council person who goes to the National League of Cities in Atlanta or wherever it may be, that instead of just going, they have to come back and provide a report on what they learned, what are some best practices that they want to apply to to our city council. So I just think it's necessary to create this requirement and for them to come have to present to it. Just because I think it just allows for full transparency and an accountability on city council when we're using taxpayers' funds to go to these trips and conferences. So yes.
All right. Thank you. Councilmember Bracy.
You're muted.
Councilmember Bracy, did you have any questions or comments?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking. I was on mute. My apologies. Two quick things. One, I don't have any major concerns with the intent behind this. I actually traveled in April and I did a report, and a press release was issued by Yesenia to the city on the travel that I did. So I would only ask the sponsor if she would consider, instead of having this be a report out in intergovernmental, I think the proper vehicle I'm suggesting would be, because this is actually what was suggested to me, is to read out during petitions and communications at our council meetings versus a committee meeting. So would you be amenable to that change, to having it be a report read out during petitions and communications? And you could even put like a time limit. So if I know for me, I submitted my report probably within 10 days of that, returning back from that travel to the Hunt Institute. So that would be my only suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Darby.
Yes, the only thing I would say for one, petitions and communications at the end of city council meeting, most people in our community are not even listening to us, and our meetings have been very long. And then also, it doesn't allow for engagement. Petitions and communications is just for you to report stuff to people. At the committee meeting, your constituents will be able to engage with you and ask you questions. City council members will also be able to engage with you and ask you questions in the public. So that's the point of this, is like transparency, and allowing the community to engage on the taxpayer money, allowing the community for what they paid for to actually be engaged with the trip that any council person took.
Follow up, Mr. President?
Yes, Councilmember Bracy.
Thank you. So if that's your intent, then the other suggestion I would make is instead of saying intergovernmental, to say the appropriate related committee. Like, for example, it was education related, and actually the city didn't pay for me. I received a scholarship, but I still reported out. So the other piece that I would say, instead of saying intergovernmental, I would require it to be reported out to the appropriate committee. That's just a thought, my suggestion.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Councilmember Bracy. We do have Councilmember Darby. I'm not sure if you had any follow-up, but we do have someone from the public who wants to speak.
Yes.
Christina Kelly.
Thank you, Council President, for an opportunity to speak on this.
Thank you.
So I greatly appreciate that this is being brought up, and I hear Councilmember Bracy's thoughts and opinions on it. I do appreciate that it being done in committee versus during a council meeting is going to be more impactful for the reasons that Councilwoman Darby disclosed. I guess my one question to this is limited to domestic travel, or will this also apply when we have council members that visit foreign countries like Qatar, etc.?
Councilmember Darby.
Yes, this will be for any travel that is paid for by you, the taxpayer. So domestic or international. So any government related conference, training, or travel will all be under this.
That is fantastic. And I just want to thank you again for bringing this forth.
Of course.
All right, thank you. Any other comments from any council members? Councilmember Darby, any final comments?
Yes, I am open to it being for other committees. So I am open to that idea. So I can work on that amendment. But yeah, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you. And just want to make sure that no one else from the public has any comments. Oh, okay. All right, thank you, Councilmember Darby. Our next agenda item is going to be a discussion on council chamber decorum. And I will start the discussion on this. And council members, if you have anyone from the public, if you have any input, any feedback, please just let me know so we can just have an open discussion about it. So on council, we just have to continue to understand why we are here and the people who we are representing. I know that more often than not lately, we have seemed to not be on the same accord, and I think that's okay. I think that's just a part of politics. Since I've been on council, we have never agreed on everything, and that's just a part of who we are, our interests, who we represent. But I think also in order to be respectful to each other, to be respected by our colleagues, to be respected by the public, we just have to make sure that we are respecting each other and respecting the public. And there are a few things that I want to just remind us of that how we should be moving during council meetings. Probably one of the biggest things for me is to please try to show up on time or to sign in on time. I know things happen, I know life happens, but if you can't be in council chambers in your seat by 6:30, please try to make sure that you are signed into the Zoom. So just so that we can start on time, especially lately, we've been having our council meetings be very well attended. And I just don't want to have to continuously say to the public who was there, and we just need a few more minutes for council members to arrive or to sign in. So just to show respect to the meeting, to show respect to the public who was there, please try to be on time. And especially if you're in the building, please try to just be in your seats a little bit before 6:30 so we can start promptly at 6:30. And again, we all know that life happens, so just sign in. Even if you're on your way, just sign in so that we can start our meetings on time. Does anyone have any comments or concerns about that? If not, I will go to another concern that I have. Another item. Please ask to be excused, either beforehand or if something comes up during a meeting. Just please ask to be excused. Please try not to just get up and walk out. And the main thing for that is for voting, when we have to vote on an ordinance or a resolution, we just have to make sure that we know how to account for you, and we want to make sure that we are staying in quorum. Make sure that we always have at least 7 members, either present in the chamber or on with us virtually. And sometimes, again, life happens, and several people ask to be excused. Sometimes people, just leave or sign off without letting me know, and we just don't want to be in danger of not having 7 members during a council meeting. So please, again, just ask to be excused. Of course, I'm always going to excuse you, so we can do everything that according to Hoyle. What else did I have? I have, especially for debate in this, lately, we just kind of have been talking back and forth to each other. So again, just please wait to be acknowledged. I'm always going to give everyone plenty of time to speak. I probably give too much time sometimes, but I just don't believe in silencing anyone. But I'm always going to give everyone an opportunity to speak. But again, just in order to show respect to each other, show respect to our public who was watching, please wait to be acknowledged, and so we can keep everything civil, keep everything in line, and not just kind of have conversations with each other without going through not only me as the president, but whoever might be that committee chair. Just always try to give them that respect to continue speaking or to ask not really to ask another question, but I guess I want to avoid the dialogue between council members without that committee chair or without me as the president giving acknowledging that you can respond, or that you want to speak on a topic. I think there was a council rule that was implemented this year. I can't remember. Maybe Councilmember Darby can speak to this. I know that sometimes it can get repetitive when a council member keeps, when a council member has several things they want to discuss or several follow-up questions. And I believe that it's in our council rule now that council person doesn't have to continue to keep asking, can they have the floor? Can they respond? Like, so for instance, if Councilmember Owens is having a conversation with Director Taylor, and he asks a question and Director Taylor answers that question, I don't think Councilmember Owens I don't think he has to keep asking me for the floor. I think he can continue that conversation with Director Owens. I believe it's up to 5 minutes. And Councilmember Darby, I think that was one of the rules that you wanted to implement. I cannot remember if it is in our rule or not. So I'm not sure if you want to speak to that or if anybody can speak to it.
No, I don't think that was me.
It wasn't you?
That was me.
It might have been McCord. I can't remember who it was, but somebody, and I think it's in the rules. I know I see staff looking now, but I'm sure they'll get back to us before the meeting is over. And again, just to try to make sure that we are not speaking over each other, just giving everyone the space to complete their train of thought before we respond. Let me see. Lately, council members have been, I just kind of put it blatantly, blatant that, we haven't been as respectful as we should have, as we should be to each other. And we just have to remember that we are, again, representing a body of government, representing thousands of constituents. And I just don't think that we want to continue the name calling, continue, just not being polite to each other. And I don't want, I'm getting calls from the media, and then they're asking me to comment on things, and I don't want us to be that session, that council body, who the media is just trying to write stories on us. The media and the public is trying to label us as not getting things done. So again, just try to be respectful. We all have different opinions, and that's fine. We're always going to be able to voice our opinions, but let's try to be respectful of each other. And remember that if you are in council chambers, and especially when we are virtual, to have our mics muted. Sometimes conversations can be heard, and when council members aren't, when they are virtual, and we just want to remember to have our mics muted. And again, just be respectful to one another. I think that might be the majority of what I wanted to remind us all. And again, we signed up to be, to be elected officials. And I think that we have to understand that it's not always going to be about praise and people showing us appreciation. Sometimes people are going to be frustrated. Sometimes people are going to want to voice their frustrations, and I think that is perfectly fine. I don't want us to think that we can put a shield around ourselves and not be subject to how the public feels. We can't just always want to be praised, but then when something doesn't go according to what the public may want, they have the right to question. And I will always try to maintain that fine line so it doesn't get disrespectful when I'm in charge of a council meeting. But again, we just can't try to create this protective shield around ourselves so that people can't address their frustrations or address their concerns. We have to maintain respect and dignity, because people are watching, children are watching, our elders are watching. But sometimes we have to take the good with the bad, and just remember to be respectful. A lot of times when we show respect, we will get respect. Again, some members of the public may cross the line, and I think we have to deal with that accordingly. But again, we have to understand that we are elected officials, and that we are here to vote on items. And sometimes it's not always going to be sunshine. Sometimes it's going to be a little rain. We have to still remain respectful to our public. We have to make sure that we are showing up, whether in council chambers or virtually, of a sound mind, and I'll just be completely honest, sober. I have received several phone calls. I have been approached several times by members of the public, some I don't even know, about how they perceive that some council members show up, and they wonder how council members can get away with that. And right now, there is nothing that we can do that I'm aware of legally to enforce that. But again, people are watching. People are watching, and that makes us look extremely incompetent when there are obvious council members who may be under the influence. So again, just be respectful, and it's not a secret. This might be an awkward conversation, but people from the public have noticed, and they have approached me, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that they have talked to about what's going on down at council. So again, let's just kind of keep each other's best interests at heart, and have conversations with people who we need on council, who we need to have conversations with. But let's show up of a sound mind for the people who have elected us in these seats. Councilmember Cabrera, I think you have a think I see your hand
Yes,
raised.
Mr. President.
Yes.
First, I want to say that I am in complete agreement with everything that you stated, um, everything that you said. And for my part, in a moment, a heated moment where um, I felt that, there was a dangerous situation going on June 5th, my mic was not muted. So I will publicly apologize for my comment that I made about you. So I apologize to you, and whether it's accepted or not, I understand, not an issue. But when I mess up and when I do wrong, I will admit to it. I will not run and hide from my mistakes. I am not perfect. I am Puerto Rican, and I know that my temper sometimes gets the best of me, but that is not a decorum that I want to portray in the public. That is not the professionalism that I want to portray. That is not who I am as a person, and I certainly am not going to allow myself to go down that road, which I have on multiple times, and for that I do apologize publicly in this meeting. Secondly, in terms of people coming into our city council chambers and having a right to speak, I am 100% that everyone has a right to express how they feel. And whether we want to hear what they have to say or not, that is the job that we signed up for. And these are difficult conversations. My biggest issue is that in the chambers, the only time that you're allowed to speak and you have that right to your First Amendment is when you are given that microphone for 3 minutes. That is your opportunity. Everybody has that opportunity. We don't take that from them. We don't put a time limit on it, and not once have we ever voted to not extend public comment. We have been in those chambers till late night because we've allowed everyone to speak their opinion. So, what bothers me is that when you have a large group who is noisier, louder, and disrespectful to the other folks that are speaking because they're not in the same opinion. If you have a right to speak and you had your 3 minutes and you spoke and nobody interrupted you, it is not fair and it is not proper for another person to come and give an opposing view and to be interrupted. Even after you, Mr. President, try to keep control and tell them to please allow everyone to speak. I've done the same thing in my committee meetings, but that respect is not being shown, which means that I also have been approached by the public, by people who want to come and give public comment, but they say they're not going to because they feel intimidated. They feel that when they get up to say something, if it's not what the loudest people in the chambers want to hear, that they're getting heckled, booed, and screamed at. And nobody wants to feel that kind of pressure when you have the guts to get up there and speak on that microphone. Your opinion, whatever you're saying, is being broadcasted. It's being recorded. It's not easy for people to get up and speak in public. But if someone takes the time and the energy to show up to our chambers and the guts and the strength and resilience to get up there and take that mic and speak, they should be given the respect no matter what they have to say. No one in the audience should be saying or anything at all. I mean, we served on council together. I can't think of any experience off the top of my head when that shouting and screaming took place. Maybe when the firefighters came in about cutting the 10 positions, they got a little out of hand. But nevertheless, in the chambers. And that is my concern, how we're going to manage that. And people shouting at the council members and saying things that are disrespectful. I mean, yes, we did sign up for this and it's going to happen. But there's got to be at least that one place where we come to conduct business, the chambers, that should not be allowed. If you want to come to a public meeting, you want to do that in the street, whatever, talk to us, fine. You're doing it all over social media already. But in that chambers, our voices, the voices of the public, all voices, whether we agree with them or not, should be respected. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, thank you. Do any other council members have any comments? Anyone else from the public have any comments? Christina Kelly?
Thank you again for an opportunity to speak, Mr. President. So I'm going to leave that alone. But I would like to ask that council members not use situations that have happened elsewhere um, to try to, suspend the First Amendment rights of taxpaying citizens and business owners in the city. For example, what happened in Minneapolis, um, I can say with almost certainty, because I spoke with the FBI directly, that none of you all were mentioned in there by name. I, however, was. So if we're concerned about safety, maybe we should be concerned about the safety of the people that you're supposed to be representing. But yeah, that would be my only ask, is that we not continue to use situations elsewhere that have absolutely no impact on Wilmington City Council to try to justify illegal or oppressive actions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Does anyone else from the public have any comments? Yes, Michelle Bassanet.
Yeah, Chair, President Congo, you mentioned regarding SOBR. Just wanted to share that the city does have a employee assistance program and a health advocate. We'll do our due diligence to make sure that's sent out to all of our city council office.
Okay, all right, thank you. Councilmember Owens.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for putting this on the agenda today. It's a much needed discussion, especially going forward with how many pressing issues the city has. And it's sad that things got to this point, but again, this did not happen overnight. When it comes to decorum, we have a lot of work to do as a council, and I think there was a lot of people on this council who came into this with new hopes, and hopefully we can return to that. But I definitely want to say thank you for your leadership and for stepping up and having this discussion, and then also hopefully going forward, people will respect the office of council president to allow the council president to do what that job is supposed to do. Thank you.
All right, thank you. That's a great point, Councilmember Owens. I know that several council members, including yourself, you came in with a lot of energy, a lot of hopes, and people have a lot of hope in you. And I have received several phone calls just from people who want us to I guess show up and be in a better space, to show up more professionally. And again, we're not always going to agree. That's just part of human nature. But they just want us to be more representative of elected officials, and what kind of examples are we setting for the our younger generation out there? If we're telling them they shouldn't act a certain way, but we're doing the same thing as leaders, as elected officials, we're not really showing what we're saying. So it's really important. And again, like so much of what we talk about, especially lately, is so emotional to so many different people. So it's kind of hard to tell people how to act around things that can be life changing. So I understand the emotions, I understand the frustrations on the public side and council side, but we have to figure out that happy medium where we just show up the way that that we are expected to. And everything, again, it's just not always going to be peaches and cream. But we signed up. We signed up for this. We went out and we campaigned, and that's just to me, that's just part of being an elected official. You got to take the heat sometimes, and I have taken it. And we can't give that. We can't always just give that kind of energy back because that's just not the council who I want us to be. That's not the council president who I want to be. So sometimes we just have to just take it, as hard as it may be. Again, I'm going to do my best to always make sure that everyone is remaining respectful. But I just think that people have the right to voice their dissatisfaction with us, as long as it's done respectfully, like some council members have already said. So I'm not going to keep on talking about the same thing. I think that we pretty much understand what we what we need to do as a council and as as a community. We do have another public comment from Brendan Fletcher. Brandon Fletcher.
Good evening, Council President Congo and members of the committee. I just want to speak in defense of the First Amendment rights of the public, rights that must be protected in these chambers and not restricted. City council meetings are one of the last places where our community members and everyday people can speak directly to power, directly to you. These spaces belong to the people. And the First Amendment guarantees our right to petition, to give postcards, to our government, to speak freely, and yes, to be loud when we feel unheard. Right now, across the country, we're witnessing a dangerous erosion of constitutional rights. The Trump administration has consistently attacked our democracy, whether it's encouraging violence against protesters, undermining free elections, and silencing critical voices. So these are not distant federal issues, but they're a warning to all levels of government. And so if we at the local level start creating policies that limit public participation under the banner of decorum, we're walking down the same path of Donald Trump, one where those in power prioritize their comfort over people's constitutional rights. So decorum should never be a tool to suppress public frustration or dissent. Passionate and even uncomfortable speech is not a threat to democracy. It's not a threat to anyone's life. It's proof that people are paying attention and democracy is alive. And so I just want to say, as our constitutional rights are under attack on the national stage, it's even more critical that local governments like this city council set a different example where the public's voices are not just tolerated but protected. And I urge you all to reject any proposal that would chip away at the right of people to speak truth to power in these chambers. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I probably could not have put that any more. I couldn't have put that any better, Mr. Fletcher. I absolutely agree. I don't want to speak to any upcoming legislation, but you're absolutely right. We have to. I think I've said it a few times. We just have to understand why we're here. We have to understand that it's not always going to be comfortable, and that's the part of an elected official's job and responsibility. We just have to figure out how to do it where we're doing it in a way that, again, is not restrictive. But I don't even want to say "but" because it's a conversation that I guess we can continue to have offline. But I would never support anything that is going to be restrictive to who is affected. I don't understand that, and I would not allow anyone to be ever physically threatened or harmed as long as I'm in that space. But sometimes we just have to take those hard hits. But I get it. I get where council members are coming from. I get where the community is coming from. And like everybody in this committee room, and a lot of people who are watching, and a lot of people from this is a majority Black city. And we got where we are today because of protests, because of people speaking loudly and people making people uncomfortable. And I don't want to lose that. I don't want us to try to suppress it. And again, I'm not going to keep on talking about the same thing, but we have to understand why we're here. We have to understand that that we're not always going to agree. But again, if I'm a part of a meeting, I am not going to allow anyone to be physically threatened. But we are here, and I'm in this seat today because someone protested, for African Americans to be able to even be an elected official, and it wasn't always a comfortable conversation. So with that, I'm not going to keep babbling, but I do understand many members of the public, and also understand my council members and their need to, to feel safe. So if there aren't any more comments or questions from anyone from the public or from anyone in the committee room, I will again thank you for joining us. I think this conversation is has to be continued. We had some very important topics on today's agenda. I want to thank everyone who was watching, everyone who commented from the public. And again, this is just going to be an ongoing conversation so we can make sure we get it right for everybody from the city of Wilmington. So with that, I will accept the motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, thank you for joining us. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.